Oh, welcome to the Sharpe Way Show. So happy to have you with me this evening. And it's a little bit past 7 p.m., kind of right at 7 p.m. on the East Coast, Monday. And I am doing a 7 p.m. show because I haven't done a show in a couple of days. And I know I was supposed to. I was trying to do 20 shows in a row. It didn't work, but I did try. That didn't work though. But I will still do 20, just not all in a row. I will do a bunch of them though. I will be doing a show today, tomorrow, and every day until at least Friday, maybe even Saturday and Sunday too. I've been doing a bunch of shows, so I will be doing a bunch in a row. I'll try to make it up to you. I couldn't do the shows this weekend. And why? Because I'm lazy. No, not because I was lazy, because I was out doing events. I did 4 events this weekend. Some of you may have seen some of the photos. I posted some of them on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube. I think that's it where I posted them. So I did. The first event was Saturday evening in Cortland. Small event. Only 3 people came, which wasn't bad. Happy to have it. It was a nice small event. Bad weather. That's my excuse. The weather. See, otherwise it would have been 1,000 people, but the weather was bad. That's the reason why. So small event that night, but still good. Enjoyed it. Caught up with some people, which was good. The morning in Canandaigua was very good. About 10 people came, new faces, people who I'd been seeing for years, people who've been with me since like 2018 and everything in between. So that was great. That was a very good event. We talked a lot about what's happening in New York State, how to fix things. Election was going to be happening in the future. Had another great afternoon at Venetos. That was huge. 25 people, maybe, give or take, a couple dozen people in that area. Large. For me, that's a large event, right? I tell you, usually I get somewhere between 3 and 30, and it could be anything in between. And I got that. I got literally between 3 and 30. So, yeah. And then the evening event, that went long. That actually went over 2 hours because there was so many questions and comments back and forth. The Veneto one was much longer than I thought. It made us late to the next one. That's how long it went. I probably should have stopped it, but you know me, I hate talking so much. And it was live and questions back and forth, which was great. Comments. So very happy about that. And the best part is every time I go out to these events, it's always at a locally owned event, a locally owned place. So the actual owners of the places came out in 2 of the places. At Ray's restaurant, the owner came out and chatted with us, which was great. And also at Venetos, the owner came out and chatted with us. So that was good too. And then the last event was in Elmira. Didn't have many people come out. 5 people came total, and it wasn't many. That was a smaller one. So 2 small ones, 2 big ones, all good. 4 different groups. And I will be doing another one in Queens, coming up here in Queens, New York. And I may do one out on Long Island next week's possible. I'm not sure yet. I'll figure out when I get a chance. And then I probably will kind of stop for January in New York stuff. So I'm not doing it in January. I may restart again in February and March and keep going to cross the state and to keep meeting people. And again, when I go there, I'm chatting with people, understanding what's happening in my state, taking live questions back and forth, and going there with no notes and just talking. And I think it is great. So yes, I hope that was clear for everybody. So in any case, I wanted to bring up so many things happening. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do today. Part of me wanted to do the Daniel Penny case, but I'm not going to cover that today. I'm covering that tomorrow on my New York WYSL Voice of Liberty show at 1 p.m. tomorrow. So it's a New York case. I'm going to cover it on my radio show. So if you want to call in live tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern, I will be covering it then. I also am covering the person of interest they found with the CEO issue, the person, Luigi Mangione. I may talk about him too. I might, but that's secondary. The number one thing I want to bring up here, though, is what I had talked about in the past, what I have been talking about, what I've chatted about literally forever. What I've been talking about is Syria. I have shown you Syria in the past more than once. I have expressed why it is valuable more than once. Now, what I wasn't sure was going to happen, and I told you, if you guys remember a while ago, I was concerned with how all of a sudden people seemed to be happy with Assad all of a sudden. I thought it was kind of odd, if you remember that, right? I was like, it's kind of odd that people all of a sudden like Assad. Kind of weird. Well, it was weird because they don't. So there we go. That answered my question right there. I thought it was kind of weird. So I want to show you, if I can, a little bit of what I was talking about. And just to show you why this kind of matters, if I may. Grab to that map. I hope you can. This is a map, as you can hopefully see, of the area. And I've told you before, my biggest concern about this, and I've been telling you before, is that Syria is the way that Iran and Iraq get all the goodies in to fight Israel. It is through Syria, generally speaking. There's some exceptions, but that's the biggest way they get through, going right through that way into Lebanon, all those things. That is a big deal that happens. And I told you my concern about Syria was Turkey. I was saying that if Israel wants to fight, it has a good border against Jordan, a good border, I shouldn't say guest, with, I'm sorry, better word, a good border with Jordan, a good border with Egypt, not a good border up here with Syria and Lebanon. And that's where all the stuff comes piling in. And that's the problem they have, right? So people say, well, why did they want to invade Lebanon? And I said, they want a buffer zone. That was my entire point. I said that's why they wanted it. And I had to do it now because they worry about, as I said, the Ukrainian war. Remember all those things I mentioned about a month or so ago? Yeah, I'm not crazy. That's literally what happened. Now, the problem here is the Turks and the Iranians and the Israelis are kind of all on different sides and also on the same side. So that's the problem. The one thing they kind of all hate in theory and not in practice is the religious fundamentalists who took over Syria before ISIS. Now, you might go, but Larry, ISIS and Al-Qaeda, they're together. In this specific case, they are not. I know you. What? Yes. In this case, they're not. The rebels that the Turks back are former Al-Qaeda who don't support ISIS anymore. Yeah, weird, but true. Just telling you it's true. I know it's weird, but it's true. But not just that. This area of Syria is so insanely weird. Let me give you another piece that might be interesting for you, which is this is what it looks like now. It's all chopped up. It's all chopped up. So the Turks here in the north, right? I hope you can see the Turks here in the north. The Turks here in the north are supporting their own people here and supporting these more rebels here who've been pushing through into the rest of the area and pushing to Damascus, the whole deal. But not just that, now the Israelis are invading. The Israelis are moving in too. Why would they move in? Because they want their buffer zone, as I've been talking about. They've been pushing for a buffer zone, and now they're going to get one, not only in Lebanon, but also in Syria. They're going to get their big buffer zone they wanted. And I say, wait a minute, Larry, how did this happen? It happened for two reasons, two important reasons. And then the third one makes it all work. But the two important reasons. The first reason is because Hezbollah, which was supported by Iran, were the biggest foot soldiers in Syria. They were the biggest, strongest foot soldiers in Syria. There's others. There's tons of other foot soldiers, but they were the biggest, baddest, toughest ones. They all went to Lebanon to fight Israel. Israel did a number on them, particularly with their, and if you remember, I mentioned this, they got rid of their command and control, which was the hardest thing. Because while Hezbollah will still fight without command and control, it's just small pockets who stand and fight, and Israelis can beat them up and literally get rid of them. That's the problem. If Hezbollah had leadership, they could fall back, they could attack, counterstrike, all the things. They couldn't do that because leadership was trashed. So they just basically sat there, fought to the death, and Israelis bombed them, blew them up, all those things. Israelis also started fighting into Syria and saw that there was nobody there. It was soft. Why was it soft? Because of the second piece, which is Ukraine. Russia has bases all over Syria. Well, had. Still has a couple, it does, still has some. But had bases all over Syria. And lots of Russians were there. But where are they now? They're all in Ukraine. All the best Russian forces are either fighting in Ukraine or fighting in West Africa. They're not there anymore. All the best generals, they're not in Syria anymore. Russian generals. They're either in West Africa or they're in Ukraine. So I got my foot soldiers trashed. I got Russian soldiers, best ones, not there anymore. The best generals, not there anymore. What a time to attack. So why didn't the Israelis attack? They didn't. They were already fighting Lebanon. They did that bit. Why didn't the Americans do something? Because they supposedly don't care, even though we have bases there. So why didn't the Iranians attack? Well, because they couldn't do anything and they were there in trouble. So who did attack? The Turks. The people who are fighting now, the HTS, these people are backed by the Turks. And here is the oddest part for all of you to understand why it's so weird. In theory, the Turks should not back these people because these are supposedly the crazy Islamic jihadists who are going to take over the Middle East and ruin everything. But that's not really who they are. They're the ones who say, we just want to control stuff. If the Turks will pay us, we'll do that. And that's what they're actually doing. Now, as they push through, we have a couple issues to worry about. Who's winning here? Well, clearly the Syrians, the Syrian loyalists or the Assad regime has lost. Assad packed up and moved to Russia. So he's out. He's like, I'm out. I'm gone. Took his family, went to Russia. Does that mean he will come up? He will come back? Maybe. I mean, look, is it possible he'll come back? Maybe. I think the odds are slim, but possible. Possible. Why would he possibly come back? Because as you can see how horrible this is, how terrible this is, what everybody wants is stability. Israel believed in the past that Assad was the best chance for stability. Clearly, they don't think that anymore. Clearly, they don't. Because too much stuff was coming in through Lebanon, in through Syria into Lebanon. They were like, he's not the guy. He's letting too much in. No, he's not stability. No. So Israel was totally fine with this happening. And so now they're going to have their own buffer zone. So Israel is already in there. Not just that. The Turks are super happy to be able to have a group of people who can fight the people who they don't like, which is the Kurds. Now, here's the worst part for us. The Kurds, that's the yellow in this map, they're backed by us, the Americans. And who in this area likes the Kurds? Nobody. Iranians don't like them. Iraqis don't like them. Turks don't like them. Nobody likes the Kurds except us. And we've put them over more than once. Both H.W. Bush came over and so did Trump. And we might do it again. That's the hard part. So the question is, what was going to happen in the future? How does this affect us and who wins? I'll tell you, number one, who wins? Israel wins. You can be mad at Israel for what they've done all day long. I get it. Some people do not like it. I get it. I understand why people are mad at Israel. I do. And for them, well done. That's all I can say. They wanted a buffer zone. That's what they wanted. That's what they got. They wanted to make sure they didn't pay too much money. They didn't. We did. We paid for it. So again, Israel, well done. You got what you wanted. You wanted to smash the hell out of Gaza. You did it. Well done. You won. You can be mad at them if you want. Doesn't change the board. The board is obvious. They have won. Netanyahu, well done. Israel wins. That's for sure. Daniel teases. He says Israeli always wins. Maybe, but this time too, right? This time too. They actually win. Yes, absolutely. And AC, you know it too. Thank you. Remember, my friend, both you guys, the Turks and a lot of others are also happy that Syrian political refugees will be heading home. Also true. AC, you are correct. Turkey also wins. And by the way, the Turks spoke to the Russians before the invasion happened. They did. I don't know if you know that. They had a conversation. That means one of two things happened. They didn't let them know, in which case the Russians are really unhappy, or they did, and the Russians bailed and got Assad out. I don't know which one is which one, but all I'm saying is literally they had diplomatic conversations, the Turks and the Russians, like a couple days before the invasion started. And I know, the Turks knew this because they're the ones giving them all the equipment and spending it. These are Turkish-backed people doing this. So two people who win, two groups who win, Israel and Turkey. But here's the issue. What is Turkey trying to achieve? There's a secondary piece to this that you may or may not get. The left side of this red part here, there's a little red button here, which says Tartus. I think it's pronounced Tartus. Tartus is a pro-Russian or a Russian-made or Russian-built naval base in the Mediterranean. They're not going to want to lose that no matter what. That is something Russia will go to war over, that base. Will they go to war over the rest of them in Syria? Clearly not. Clearly they will not. But that base, they will. So whatever Turkey does, they probably should leave that base alone. Whatever deal they make, they should leave that base alone. Because at one point, the Russians will go, oh no, we're marching into Turkey. At one point, that will happen. Now, I think the only way that happens is if they capture that base. Otherwise, I do not think Russia wants war with Turkey. I do not think they want to open to the front. I cannot see that happening at all unless they take that base. And I think Turkey does not want war with Russia, is happy with what's going on now. I think that base, whatever happens in there, that base will actually work. That base will actually stay no matter what. That is my belief. I think that's true. The second piece is, if this new base, if this new government, this government can't work, they'll bring Assad back. How do I know that? Because the guy who runs it, I've forgotten the guy's name who runs it, the HTS, he has come in and he is not talking about being like ISIS at all. He is not saying we're going to be an Islamic state at all. He's not saying we're going to throw out all the Christians. None of that. Going to put all the women in burqa. He's not saying any of that. He's no. We're good. We're just going to be real Syrians. We're going to be Islamic based country, but we're not going to be like Afghanistan at all. Now, can we trust them? I don't know. My gut says yes. My gut says we can. Why? Because Turkey's giving them the cash. And if they mess around, they'll bring Assad back. And when ISIS took over Syria, everybody fought them. Like nobody wanted ISIS. Literally, the Kurds fought them. The Turks fought them. The Americans, we were all on the same side for like 10 minutes. Like we were all on the same side. The Iranians fought them. We were all on the same side for like 10 minutes. Then when ISIS was crushed, we hate each other again. So I do think that they will probably be less aggressive than most Islamic states because they fear everyone hitting them again. They watch what happened to ISIS. Everybody beat up on ISIS. They're like, we're getting rid of all of them, right? We saw that. All of a sudden, us and Iran were on the same side all of a sudden, overnight, right? Kurds were on the same side as Turks overnight. And that never happens, but it did. So I think Turkey wins this, and Turkey will have massive control over Syria. And one of the biggest reasons why they want that, twofold. Number one, they want to make sure they have a secure border. They want to take all the damn Syrians, there's like 2 million, 3 million of them, I forgot how many millions are in Turkey, and shove them all back into Syria. Get out, get out, get out. My gut tells me that Turkey may actually be okay with a Kurdish state existing. And you might say, Larry, you're crazy. But I think they might. They might hope to throw a bunch of their Kurds into that state because a big chunk of Turkey is Kurdish, a big chunk. It's something like 10 million, something like that. It's a lot of people in Turkey who are of Kurdish descent. They might have changed their mind on that one. Otherwise, the other option is, and this is a problem with America. This is why America loses, by the way, in this one. America loses. And so does Russia. Russia and America lose on this one. That's true. And let me tell you why. U.S. supports the Kurdish forces. You see that yellow there. They support the Kurdish forces. If Turkey does not want to keep this going on, they could use the forces now in the red when it's conquered by all in the black to mount a proxy war against the Kurds, which is a proxy war against us. So the Turks could create a Turkish-U.S. proxy war. Easily could be done without one Turkish unit on the ground. Without one Turkish unit on the ground. Now, if it's beating up against Kurds, the Turks could literally create an alliance with Iran for that because Iran would be happy to kill Kurds. Iran's happy to kill Kurds too. So they could actually create an alliance, Turkey could, with Iran to crush Kurds. That's a problem for us because we support both of them. So we have to worry about that and hope it doesn't happen. But Turkey's in a very good spot. Erdogan, again, well done. What can I say? Erdogan wins, 100%. Now, how does America lose? We have thrown all of our money into Syria, into Israel, into Kurdistan, into everything to get basically nothing. To get basically nothing. All this for nothing. Terrible. America loses. And we've backed all of this, basically. We've backed every side here, by the way, at one point or another, right? We recently haven't backed, we recently have not backed Assad, but in the past we did. So we've backed all of these guys in one way or another. What's the old saying? If you want to know who America's next enemy is, who are we backing now? That's our next enemy. Well, that's what's happening now. So we've lost completely in this. Who else has lost? The Russians have. The Russians have. They've decided that Ukraine matters more. But this goes back to the point that I mentioned earlier, last month, if I was telling you, when I was talking about how this time reminds me of the end of World War I. Here is the good and the bad when it comes to foreign wars for Donald Trump. Almost everybody believes that Donald Trump is going to try his damnedest to end all these wars. And I think it's true. I think most people know that. They believe it. I think Trump is going to try his damnedest to end these wars. I'm not saying he can, because it's hard to end all these wars, but I think he's going to do his damnedest to end these wars. I think it's true. That's the good part. Here's the bad part. They all know it too. They all know it too. So we got to go do all the fighting. It's the end of World War I. Remember that story I told you at the end of World War I? They literally said, we're going to end the war on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. And they signed the paperwork. And we thought, great, now the war's over. We'll sit in our trenches and drink coffee and live life until the 11th day of the 11th month of the 11th hour. We'll do that. No. They went, now massive attacks. Attack everyone before the war's over. Attack before the war's over. This is what Turkey did. Perfect timing. So I told you Israel had to fight now. People, why is Israel doing all this fighting? They have to. The war's going to end. Next year, these wars end. Next year, these wars end. If they don't fight now, they don't get what they want. Israel wanted a buffer zone. They're fighting now. Turkey wants influence. They're fighting now. Russia wants to take Ukraine. They're fighting now because they know this is going to end next year. And they want to get the getting while the getting's good. That's the issue. And while I understand it, I am really unhappy about it because all these people are dying. All these things are being destroyed, all to rush for political gains of the most powerful people. That's why I'm so upset by this. But you see it already. It's already happening. It is everywhere. And of course, now you look at what Russia is doing. They walked away from this. My gut says that the Turks told the Russians they want to do something like this. I do not have data to prove this. I don't know. It's just my personal opinion. I think they actually said it. I think they went there and said, all right, look, our boys are going in. You take your boys out of the area. Don't do this. You're going to lose. You can't do both. We're going to do it. That's what I think they said. And that's why the Russians so quickly capitulated. That's why everything collapsed. I think that's where everything collapsed. Because without Russian backing, how could they? Right? How could they? Without Russian backing. They couldn't defend themselves without Russian backing. Russia had most money in this, most everything in this. Iran had some too, right? Some also, but nowhere near what Russia had. And most of the Iranian backing was in Hezbollah. And Hezbollah leadership was devastated. And now their ground forces were devastated. Again, because leadership was devastated, right? If you remember, I said when they did the cell phone attack, I told you there will be an attack coming right away. Perfect timing. You've just decimated their leadership. And these are all small, 3 to 5 person units. They'll just stand their ground and fight, in which case you will decimate them, right? When people stand and fight, and fanatic units often do, not always, but they often do, that should take the highest casualties. That's what happened. The best Hezbollah units died in Israel's attack because they weren't able to maneuver, get out, do those types of things. Many of them died or were captured or wounded or whatever, but they're gone. Well, those guys now aren't here to fight the Turkish forces, the Turkish-backed forces coming out of there. They're not there. Those hard units aren't there anymore. Russians aren't there anymore. Iranians aren't there anymore. Hence, it collapses. So, what do I think is going to happen here? I'm going to give you my gut on what I think is going to happen. The part you see here to the west, this area here, is going to be some type of area that satisfies Russia, whatever that is. I don't know how they did. I don't see that collapsing unless it's an agreement with Russia. They want that. This is the only Mediterranean port the Russians have. They're not going to give that up. Just not. So whoever, it probably the Turks, I assume, will negotiate with the Russians to go, all right, how do you keep this place and we don't have to fight? What do we got to do? How do we negotiate that? To negotiate that, Russia keeps that in any way, shape, or form. That's number one. Number two, the rest of Syria, not the yellow part, will fall under the control of these rebels. They will still call it Syria. They will keep exactly the same name. And they will pretend like they are not militant, fundamentalist Islamists. If the Israelis believe them, if the Kurds believe them, then they'll chill. If they believe them, they'll chill. If they don't, there'll be more of a buffer zone for the Israelis, and the Kurds will arm up. And I could see literally a Kurdish-Syrian war. I could see that. The problem is the Turks will have to stay out, and they can't cross the border. It'll be a proxy war. The Turks and America will have a proxy war, Kurds versus whatever new Syria is. And if that happens, I don't know where Iran falls. My gut says, this is where the actual peace comes in. As I told you again, this is something I told you before. The Ukrainian war peace won't just be in Ukraine. Somehow Putin has to get a win. Somehow America, Trump has to get a win somehow. Turkey already got a win. Israel already got a win. They're good. They already got a win, right? Iran doesn't require a win. You might go, why not? Because Iran is right now, their government uses their losses as a way to blame the rest of the world to keep their people in check. So Iran does not require a win. If Iran loses, they'll just go, see, it's because Israel. That's the reason why we have to hate them. They did it to us again, right? They'll just blame Israel or blame America, blame Russia, whatever, right? They won't blame Russia. Iran will blame somebody else. They don't require a win. Putin requires a win. So he'll either get his win in Ukraine or he'll get his win here on the coast with that port, but he will get a win somewhere. And so will Trump. Now, Trump's win's actually easier. Trump's win is no war. So if Trump's able to negotiate some type of DMZ or some type of Kurdistan, if he's able to negotiate a Kurdistan, that is a massive win for Trump. If he can negotiate a Kurdistan in some way, shape, or form. I'm not sure he can. I don't know where Turkey's head is or where Iran's head is. But if he can negotiate some form of Kurdistan, win for him, he's good. No, Trump has the easiest win. No war. Stop shooting, Trump wins. If there is a proxy war in Syria, Trump loses. And here's how you go, Larry, that's easy. It isn't. Because the biggest piece that people aren't talking about, which funny, Pinkerbell, thank you for being a member. She says, Larry, forgetting all that sweet military industrial complex cash. She is correct. The military industrial complex would love a proxy war in Syria. They would love it. And I got to tell you, I don't think Russia would mind a proxy war if they're just funding it. I don't think they would mind. A proxy war is like something they'd be okay with in Syria. Russia's been part of a proxy war for how long? I'm not sure that might be something they would accept to keep the Turks or keep someone else happy. And this is the prop that has always bothered me. And I've mentioned this before many times. My worry is the people who get screwed, no matter what, are probably the Kurds. Carl says, Kurdistan, nope, Turkey won't allow that. That's my worry, Carl. I hope you're wrong, but I'm not saying you are. But I hope you are wrong. I hope they will allow some form of Kurdistan. Here's what I'll say. If anybody could negotiate a Kurdistan, if there is someone, it's Trump, if it can be done. But Carl, you may be right. It may be impossible. But if it can be done, it'll be Trump. Because Trump will simply say, we're not leaving. American troops are staying in what we're calling Kurdistan. You fight us, you got to fight American troops. He might do something like that. He might. So it is possible. If, again, I'm not saying you're wrong, Carl. I'm saying if anyone could do it, it's him. If someone could, it may not be possible. To be forward, there's been a de facto Kurdistan right now for what, 5 years now? Is my time about right? 5 years? Maybe 3 years in that area. So yeah, maybe 3 years. So yes, maybe the last 3 or 4 years, there's been a de facto Kurdistan. So can we keep it? Maybe. Look, to be forward with you, the people who'd fight against it are the Turks and the Iranians. That's who will fight against it. If the Turks are satisfied with getting all the Syrian refugees and shove them in Syria, if the Turks can negotiate, and this is horrible, but if anyone could, it will be trouble if you can negotiate it, getting so many of the Kurds that are in Turkey to voluntarily move into Kurdistan. I think Turks might keep a Kurdistan. If they could dump their population of Kurds into Kurdistan, maybe. I don't know if that's possible. I don't know. I'm not saying you're wrong, Carl. I'm just saying that's what we have to worry about. Now, how does this affect Ukraine? Russia's not stopping in Ukraine. Russia is fighting hard in Ukraine still. This is AC brings this up. Thank you for bringing this up and being a member. I appreciate it. He says, decided or been stretched thin. I think they're the same thing, AC. The same thing. They have X number of troops, X number of competent officers, X number of resources, right? And they said, where are we going to put them? Ukraine. That's where we're going to put them. Now, much of Russia's more like prisoners and mercs, most of them, I don't know most, a huge chunk of them are now in West Africa. So they're not prepared to put them here in Syria. They'd rather have them in West Africa. They're trying to keep the Frenchies out. So one of the reasons why the French are so mad at the Russians, they keep talking about invading them and stuff, is because they got their butt kicked in West Africa, and it's all controlled now by Russians. Most of the Russians are mercs. Most, not all, or I should say mercs. That's the wrong word. Professional soldiers, maybe is a better word. Some of them are prisoners. A lot of them are there right now. So with that in mind, Wagner Group, a lot of them are there. So they've decided, nope, West Africa matters. Ukraine matters. Syria, you know what? You Assad and family come to Russia. It's nice here. Come on, hang out in Russia for a while. That's what wound up happening. So I think they're the same. So yes. All right. Oh, I want to say thank you so much, Garrett. Thank you for the membership. I appreciate it. Guys, if you are a member, if you look on my YouTube pages, both Sharpe Way YouTube page and also on the Sharpe Way YouTube page and Larry Sharpe YouTube page, I have posted, if you're a member, members can see it, the request to see who wants to come on the show and be a guest here next Monday, the 16th at 8 p.m. Eastern. If you want to grab Garrett's memberships, go grab one of them. If you want to get them on, let me know. And if I can, I'll put you on. Now, some of you guys who were on last time want to come on again. I appreciate it, but I like to give other people a chance to come on too, not just you guys. You guys are great, but maybe next time. And I'm doing it. I'll try to do it at least once a month if I can. At least once a month. So yes. All righty. Mike Voss in the house. How are you, sir? He says Trump will reduce, if not remove, U.S. troops from Syria with a guarantee to return if Kurds are invaded. Drone no-fly zone will be established. See, this you're reading my mind, Mike. If anybody can negotiate a Kurdistan, it'll be Trump. I'm not sure even he could do it. I think Carl has a valid point, right? There is a lot of problems in this area. The Iranians do not want the Kurds, and the Turks don't want the Kurds. So I don't know, but I feel like, and this is again, I have no data on this one. This is my opinion also. I feel like the Turks might be okay having some damn stability on their eastern borders. The Turks have not had stability on their eastern borders since when? I don't know. Since it was an Ottoman Empire, if there even was then, right? This is a problem the Turks have had for what, centuries now? They have not had peace on their eastern border. If they could get some kind of agreement, they would trust. They could have an actual eastern border. They could actually be happy, at least in the southern part. I mean, it's still Azerbaijan and Armenia and Georgia. They still got problems there. But if they could actually get a southern border, southeastern border, like solidified, maybe. The problem is, though, Mike, how do Americans return if they leave? Right? This is why I say reduce, not remove. How do you return to a landlocked country surrounded by enemies? You could do it, but man, is it tough, right? You could do it. If anyone could do it, America could do it. I'm not saying it's impossible, but oh my God, what are you going to do? The Iranians aren't going to let you in. The Iraqis aren't going to let you in. The Turks aren't going to let you in. And the Syrians aren't going to let you in. So you're marching across somebody's stuff. Well, you're doing massive airborne activity. One of those two things are happening. So how do you do that once you leave? I don't think you can leave Kurdistan. That's my view, Mike. I don't think you can reduce. I can't see you leave. I can't see you leaving. Right? I can't see it going away. That's the issue. So, any case, it seems far too difficult to do so. Right? Anyway, just my view on that one. Let me grab a couple more comments. Before we do that, let me go back to the maps if I could. All right, this was the map that I was talking about, as you can see. And if you see this area here now, and this is the current would be Kurdistan, de facto Kurdistan right here. Who is a border? It borders Iraq, which is a broken, disastrous state. It borders Turkey. Again, southeast border of Turkey. It'd be nice if they had a nice good border. They have trouble already with Georgia, trouble with Armenia, Azerbaijan. They got problems. This area in here is Turkey. You know, wow. Right? What a disaster this is. They fight in here too. So they would like, if possible, to create some kind of border they could be happy with. They haven't had a good eastern border, again, since forever. So that's my issue with that. This area is Kurdish. This area is Kurdish. This area is Kurdish. It's all Kurdish. If you could shove all your Kurds into one area, would they be okay with it? The Kurds probably wouldn't be. I assume they wouldn't be. But I bet the Turks would be happy about that, shoving them all in there. I'm sure they'd be happy with that. So we'll see what happens. But again, you can see now, here is Israel. Safe border here with Egypt, safe border here with Jordan, buffer zone now in Lebanon, buffer zone now in Syria. Well done, Israel. Well done. And if you look, I'm sorry, here. Yeah, if you look here, this is that area here. Hold on, if I can find it here. See if I can find it. Tartus. There it is right there. That's the base that I'm talking about. That's the base. So I hope I covered that clear enough. I don't know if I did or not, if I covered that clear enough. If you come here, you can see the areas I'm talking about. Armenia, Georgia, you see that here, and then Iran, Iraq, then Syria. And this area here, all Kurds are in these areas. Because again, when we decided, we mean the West, decided to chop this up from the Ottoman Empire, we didn't care at all about like where the tribes were. We just drew lines to make sure the British can control Iraq. The British had Iraq at the time. The French could control Syria because they had Syria at the time. And that whatever was up in Turkey was here. And the Brits could control Iran because the Brits controlled Iran at the time. At the time, Iran and Iraq were basically British puppets. And Syria was basically a French puppet. That's how it worked. Colony / puppet, whatever you want to call it. And they want to make sure so they did it up their way, not caring at all about the actual people who were there. And that's the problem with colonization. Anyway, I hope that was clear with what we were talking about. Let me grab some more comments if I could. All righty. P says, Larry, I get lost in all this. I need a good slideshow of the total history or an unbiased book. Understand the total history of war, religion, power, money, and drama. I'm angry we are not better understanding this. You know what? Maybe I should go through that. I probably could. Maybe I'll do a show on that. That's what I got to goddamn do. All right, maybe I'll do a show on that in general. Because I have walked people through this. I've look at my kids. I've walked my kids through this more than once. Like kind of the history of how the world has gone since like the age of discovery. Maybe that area, maybe some of that. I can even talk about in general. I've walked through a bunch of pieces that it gets people to kind of understand generally speaking how things work. I could do something like that. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll put a slideshow together. Maybe like a PowerPoint. Or maybe I'll just go on a map and do it. That could work too. That could work also. I'll walk through a bunch of that then. That's a good idea. I appreciate that. I really do. All right, let me grab some of these other ones if I can. All right. Vivek says, it hurts. It hurts the Middle East. Assad was a lesser evil compared to the ISIS rebels who will not be in power. This is my worry, Vivek. I'm not sure you're correct. Hear me out before you get mad at me. I'm not sure you're correct. And the reason is the people who are now invading Syria, they were also against ISIS. This is not the same group of people. I'm not saying they're great, wonderful people who are modern people trying to make, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is they're not the same. That's all I'm saying. They even helped get rid of ISIS. So all these people who are in now, none of them, in theory at least, were supporting ISIS. The people who are supporting ISIS now are hanging out in Iraq right now. They fell back into Iraq. So will they come back in? Okay, maybe. But I would bet the Turkish-backed rebels would actually fight them and would push them out. That's what I would bet. And the Turks will back them. The only issue that the Israelis have to worry about, and Israelis have to be clear about, this is the only way Israel could possibly lose. Maybe. I don't see it. They've been very good so far. The Israelis have had their act together so far. But the only problem would be if they don't make a good treaty or agreement with the Turks. Because again, the Turks could use these guys as a proxy war against Israel. Now, again, you might go, well, does that really matter? Yes. If you remember, I mentioned this again last month. My worry for Israel was if the Turks turn against them and push all their money, power, weaponry into Lebanon. Because while it's very hard from Iran to get all its troops and stuff across Iraq, across Syria, into Lebanon, it is way easy for the Turks to get everything into Lebanon. Way easy. So if the Turks somehow decide to do a proxy war against Israel, it's a problem. That will be that'll be U.S.-Turkish proxy war. That's what wound up happening. I don't want it to happen. But as long as it doesn't happen, it doesn't matter. Because here's the issue. For the people who are more like Al-Qaeda and ISIS, all those groups, everybody hates them. So it's not like the Israelis will have to fight them directly. If the Israelis have to fight them, so will the Kurds, right? So will the Turks, right? Everyone else will want to fight them. So they'll be fighting a 2 or 3 front war. How do I know that? That's what happened to ISIS, right? That's what happened to ISIS. Same thing. So I'm not that concerned, if that makes any sense. Cam, thank you for being a member. So glad you're back in your bunker. I am. I have returned. Thank you. Yes, absolutely. The AC says, the notification worked. Yes, great. I'm glad. And guys, I know I ask all the time, if you haven't done it, the way you can figure it out and to make sure you get notified and it pops up in your feed and pops up wherever is number 1. Click the button known as LIKE, the one that says that. Click that button, hit that button, elbow that button, knee that button, whatever it takes, do the thing that is required for that button. It does matter. Whatever it is, it does matter. Please do that. In addition, if I could get you to share this in some way, shape, or form, share it on Twitter, share it on Facebook, whatever the case may be. Do that if you can. Yes. All righty. Also, subscribe if you haven't. Follow me if you haven't. You can always super chat me. I appreciate the super chats. Membership matters. Garrett gave out 10 of them. Grab membership. Grab one of them. Or do yourself. You missed it? Grab one. Click that join button, either on YouTube Sharpe Way or YouTube Larry Sharpe, either one. And you will be able, if you want to come on my show the 16th, which is next Monday, 8 p.m. We can chat here and we'll chat on whatever we want to talk about. So good. I love that stuff. If we can do it, it is good. In addition, I do want to grab someone from Rumble. This is straight in. He says, now I understand why Trump wants to stay out of there. Yes. Getting involved in this is a disaster. I completely agree. I hope that Mike Voss is correct and we pull out completely. I don't see it. But I hope I'm here next month going, Mike, you were right. I hope I am. But I don't think so. I do not see us. First off, we hate losing bases. That's a thing we can't stand. We hate losing bases. This is the Pinkerbell's piece. We hate losing bases, mental industrial complex. We love keeping bases. So I don't see us leaving. I hope we do. I'm with you, Mike. I hope so. I don't see it. I think we keep a presence there no matter what, in some form of Kurdistan, whatever that is, right? I think we have to. It's what America does, right? Again, I hope you're right. I don't think so. It'd be tough for me to get it. So yes. All right, let me see if I can go down here. Mike goes on to say, sounds like a productive trip. I was happy. I'm glad that I went out and did it. Meeting people was valuable. Yes, absolutely. I got a couple of photos, which was nice. And I don't know if the thing about that I like most about the trip that I did this last weekend, the 4 stops that I went to, is that there were 2 types of people there. Some of the people who always come, which I'm always happy, please keep coming, but also new people. New people came to 2 of the events. 2 of the events were only people who had come before, and 2 had lots of new people. In fact, I think the one at Veneto, 50-50 new people, and politicians came. People who are part of the Republican establishment came. People who are part of the local government came. So they came to talk, ask questions. They love talking about asking if I was running for governor again. Oh, they love that. So yes, so very productive, of course. And again, the fact that I could show up, and I'm not running for anything, right? I'm not running for office. The fact that I could show up with less than a week's notice and get 25, 30 people to show up and ask me questions in New York State, very few people could do that who aren't running for something, right? I didn't ask for anything. I just asked the same thing. Can someone, wherever you are, buy something at the place? Some people just bought a soda or coffee. Some just bought something light. And that's fine. I don't care. I don't know what your finances are, but everyone bought something. So that owner got some cash out of it, whatever that was. Some people bought full meals and brought their friends. So some people dropped serious cash. Some bought one meal, or they bought coffee or soda or something. Doesn't matter. That's all I ask. And it worked. So yes. Daniel Donnelly, how are you, sir? We've been making other appearances around New York State in the coming weeks. We hope to see you soon in the Hudson Valley. Odds are I won't be making any going upstate for the rest of this year, this calendar year. I'm going to start again probably in February of next year is when I'll start again. So yeah, this is my 7th time crossing the state. I appreciate him. So yes. All righty. James says, as long as the United States gets out of the Middle East, I'm sure things will get a little bit better or be less bad anyways. I don't know if they will get better, James, but I can tell you they'll be less bad. America doesn't help being in the Middle East. None of the Western powers do. They don't. I don't mean to be mean. I'm trying to be oh, it's all about colonialism. But it's all about colonialism. It is. In the Middle East, it is. It's all about that. We should have stayed out a long time ago. Just leave them alone. They will figure out their own stuff however they want to. We have just made things worse. Now, this may be one of the best things that will happen here. It could, James. This could be a time when we actually begin to get and understand, you know what? Let's just stop. Can we just not? Can we just not? Can we just walk away and just not do this? I hope you're right, James. I hope we do. Because we're not making things better. We're just not. That's all. We're not. That Liberty says, are you live on Rumble? I am, Liberty. Thank you for asking. I am. Pete. 36 trillion, 166 billion, 37 million, 570,000, $457.33. That's our national debt. And as always, when I said it, it's now more. And we're sitting there going, we should put more money into the Middle East. No, Pete is correct. We could stop now. Let's not put more money into the Middle East. Let's not do that, right? That's our issue. We have to stop this. The reason why I bring this up, and Pete's right? We should stop funding all of this stuff. Just stop. The military-industrial complex is not helping us. I mean, it's giving us jobs that just keep creating inflation because they're all government jobs, which are forced between about debt and paying ourselves. So that's a bad thing. Let's stop that right now if we could. And let's trade more, which creates real jobs. Real jobs, that's not fair. Which creates jobs that creates market value. How about that? That's better. It creates market value jobs. How about that? There we go. So yeah, I'm gonna do that instead. I'm with you with that idea completely. My hope is, look, I get completely that it's not going to be easy for Trump to end all these wars. But I'll say it again. If anyone can, if it is possible, it's him. He's got Tulsi Gabbard to help out. He's got Vivek to tell people to stop doing stuff. He's got himself. He's got people telling him, don't do it. Hopefully, if someone can, it's him. I hope he can do it. But I'm just being forward. It's not an easy task. There's a lot of people in this country who want these wars to keep going. He has to fight them. I hope he can stop them. I hope he can stop these wars and we can start trading instead. But here's the most important thing. The reason why I know there's a chance is because the second he won the election, all of a sudden, this is happening all at the same time. Again, it's the end of World War I. They know he is going to try to end all these wars next year. All of them. To try to end all of them. They got to get in their hits now. And they got to sacrifice literally thousands of people to do so. So, yeah. Anyway, let's keep going. Mike is talking about them catching that guy, Luigi. He says, I don't trust the correct person was caught. Guy in photo was smart, different clothing than shooter, still holding pistol in the backpack, doesn't add up. It's possible. Who knows if it's right? If you notice what's happening with that guy, and a little bit off topic, but I just bring it because you bring it up. He's not being charged with a crime yet. He's not. They're holding him in Pennsylvania on gun charges. So they're not holding him on any action. They are holding and charging him on possession. Now, you will always hear me say possession is not a crime, but it is because we've made it one. But it should not be a crime, but it is. But it should not be a crime. But why do they have it as a crime? For this. So he is being held only via Pennsylvania law on gun charges. That's what he's currently being held on. He's not been charged in New York State yet for anything at the moment. I mean, maybe while I'm talking, it's happening. But since I started this live stream, he has not been charged in New York at all. They are talking about extraditing and taking him back to New York State. That's what they're talking about. They have not said it's going to happen yet, so who knows? So, Mike, you could be right. Could be the wrong guy. Could be a problem. Maybe. I don't know. But here's what I am telling you. You guys are telling me, is he going to get away with it? And I said, absolutely not. I told you that no. Now, to be forward, the clearance, which means the ability to, find someone and prosecute and convict someone for a crime in New York State is about 50%. Not when you're wealthy like that guy. It's 100%. So they're getting him. Somebody is getting arrested. Somebody's getting convicted. Somebody's going to jail. I hope I'm sorry, the person may not go to jail. There's a chance. But the person is absolutely getting arrested and tried. That's for sure. If the guy is hardcore, he will plead not guilty. He'll do a trial, and they will hope somehow that they let him off. And he might. You get one juror on there who slides on and says, nope, that guy gets out. How do I know? What I'll talk about tomorrow, Daniel Penny. Yes, things are a-changing. I've been telling you this forever. Americans are against our institutions, all of them. Americans are, I saw some recent polling. 50% of Americans are angry at the federal government. More than 50% are angry at the federal government. Yes, that's not good. Over 80% of Americans say my political leaders don't care what I think. Yes, recent polling. Now that's one poll. But that should not be a thing at all in a perfect world. Now, so there is a chance, even if Luigi is the guy, if he's hardcore. But the problem is what will happen is the district attorney will try to throw the book at him. We'll give him like every charge known to man because it's a rich person and it's going to be a high profile. So he'll throw every charge he can at him. He'll throw and walk on the grass with shoes on. He'll throw every charge at him to ensure he'll have 97 million years in prison. He'll do that. Now, the problem with that is you go that far to a guy who's in his 20s, what do I got to lose? What do I got to lose? Yeah, I'll fight you. Not guilty. What do I got to lose? You tell me there are people who want to fund him, who want to throw money behind him for his legal fund? They did that. Daniel Penny had like $3 million for his fund. Yeah, he had great lawyers. This guy won't have it? Yeah, he will. He will. He'll do like a GoFundMe or something. He'll raise $1 million. Guaranteed. In fact, I don't doubt that they try to shut down the GoFundMe. I don't doubt that. They will try to shut down the GoFundMe so that he can't get a defense. Utterly unconstitutional. They'll do it anyway, of course. Thank you for the $2 piece. I appreciate it. Lick the like button. Okay. Too many germs on the screen? Don't do that. It's fine. You can just hit it with something else. It's fine. Goes on to say, if you do evil things, then evil might come and visit you. This is what a lot of people think, Peace. You are correct. You get one person who slides in that jury. And I'm telling you, if I'm the DA, I'm literally going to have my team there. I'm not joking. I'm going to have my team there, 3, 4, 5 interns or associates there, literally going through every single one of the jurors, every one of their social media posts. Everyone going through every piece, printing out with a printer right there, printing stuff out to give to the judge. Candidate, this person, look, he hates this. Look, he hates this. Trying to get rid of everybody. So it's basically what I want at that point is like 12 cops. That's what I want as my juror, as my jury. I want 12 cops and 6 cops and 6 former district attorneys. That's what I want as my jury to make sure that this guy gets convicted. Because you're right, Peace. One zealot shows up whose mom or dad had a problem with the insurance company. They will say not guilty no matter what. No matter what. You make well, that doesn't matter. Yeah, it does. Because these jurors want to go home. They want to go home. I've been in a jury more than once. So you go on that and go, nope, not guilty. Why not? Because nope, don't believe him. Not guilty. Nope. Well, we got to go home. I ain't going home, and I'm better to do. We'll sit here all weekend. Sit here all night tomorrow. 2 weeks. I don't care, and I'm better to do. All right, hung jury. Done. That's Daniel Perry. Perry. Keeps going Perry. Daniel Penny. People are like, no, I'm going to change my mind. Done. Throw it out then. Throw it out then. That's what happened. So there is a chance he gets off if he's hardcore, but he might not. Who knows? We'll see. So anyway, if I can go down here if I can. Mike says, Biden's escalating the situation, increasing U.S. exposure and trying to mold the new government. This will not help U.S. long-term, especially if Trump wants to be hands-off and Biden. I agree with you completely, Mike. I think you're totally right. Yes, this is not good for you. U.S. doesn't win in this one at all. This makes it harder for Trump to end the wars. It does. That's true, which is why I'm saying it makes it harder. Again, be very clear. I'm not saying he can't do it. I'm not. One thing Trump is, whether you like or hate him, he is tenacious. But also, there's a second piece of Trump. He's tenacious when he chooses something, but he also can be fickle. He can say, I don't care anymore. If he says, I care about this thing, he never lets it go. But if he goes, you know what, not worth it, he could walk away. It's possible he could walk away. That is not unlike Trump to go, that's fine, let it go. And then let the war go, whatever. It could happen, it's possible. But I do think you're right. No matter what, this is harder. This is definitely a harder thing. Cheyenne says, Jacob, you think planted evidence? To be forward with you, I'm going to step in on this one. I know this wasn't towards me, Cheyenne, but it's not beyond the pale. That's what I'll say. It isn't. Yeah, absolutely. It may not be. It's possible. So, any case, hope that was clear. So, Liberty Death says this was just creating a power vacuum like we saw in Libya and Iraq. I think, okay, good point. I think we don't want that. Right? I think we don't want that. And to be forward, not just we. Israel does not want this. Israel was happy keeping Assad in power for decades because at least we know this guy. Like this guy we get, right? He's not ISIS. We don't like it, but we'll take it. That was them for decades. Now they're like, you know what? No. But I don't see Israel going, let's get rid of Assad to have worse than Assad. So if it happens, it's a mistake on Israel's part. I don't see them doing it. I think they can get their buffer zone they've been talking about, and they now have. And with that, they will find something that is stable enough. I don't think anyone in the area is foolish to think that this is going to be a great, wonderful government. They're like, will it be stable enough? Okay, it's fine. We'll take it. I don't think the Turks want another destabilized. The Turks do not require another destabilized nation on their border. That's not, they have enough of them. They don't require any more. Georgia is in turmoil and it's on their border right now. They don't require more turbulent nations on their border. I don't think Turkey wants it either. Iran would probably take it actually because they're in trouble. They might take turbulence. Iraq doesn't require any more turbulence either. These are nations that don't require any more turbulence. So while you are correct, it could happen. I think nobody in the area wants it, which is why I think if there's a chance, you can create some form of Kurdistan. I think now's the time. If anything, you could see it. So that's my view on that. So yes. All righty. The AC says lots of stuff didn't add up. You see the abs on that guy. No way he's eating McDonald's. Look, they said literally he's a person of interest. See if he's charged. That's where I'll go with on that one. So yes. Andrew, I think Andrew is with you, Liberty Death. He says, I predict it's going to be Liberty 2.0. Remember the Arab Spring 2011, the minute these despots do fall is when things really get messy. Yes, but here's my yes, but for both of you. My yes, but for both Andrew and Liberty or Death is it happened already. And ISIS is what came up. And everybody fought ISIS. I mean, when's the last time the Turks, the Israelis, the Americans, and the Iranians were on the same side, and the Kurds were on the same side? When has that ever happened? Just ISIS. That's the last time it happened. It hasn't happened since. It didn't happen before. If this happens, it'll happen again. This is why I think you guys are wrong, because that's already happened. It's already happened, and everybody said no. Right? Trump takes all the credit for destroying ISIS. I know he does. Don't be wrong. America had a lot to do with it, and Trump had a lot to do with it. It's true. It had a lot, but he wasn't alone. Everybody was against ISIS at the time. Right? And I'm fine. He can take credit for it, whatever. But it wasn't all him. Right? Again, a lot. Turks wanted to. So were the Kurds. So were the Iranians. Right? They were all against it. So yeah, I think a lot of people. That's why I don't think it will happen. That is my gut. I don't think it will happen. Yes. All righty. James says, if there is a time where we need peace in the world, every time will be the best time. True. But especially now because I don't want the Kurds to get screwed. I'm with you. James, I would like the Kurds to have their homeland. I think everyone deserves a homeland. The Kurds deserve one too, right? If you can get a homeland, get a homeland, right? If you can get one, get one. The Kurds deserve a homeland too, whatever that is. And look, to be forward, fair or not fair, it's not going to be what they want or ancestral. It'll be something. That's what they're going to get. And you might go, Larry, that's not fair. You're right. And it's still true. It's still true. The Palestinians aren't going to get what they want. They're not. They deserve a homeland too. They're not going to get one either. Oh, they're not going to get the one they want. Not going to happen. Give them something. Everyone should have a homeland they can go to. So I think. So, yes. Lorenzo, yeah, he's thinking the same way a lot are. So the Kurds will be the sacrificial lamb, nicknamed cannon fodder. Yeah. Pete goes on to say, our tax dollars are somehow funding both sides. Isn't it always true, Pete? Isn't that the norm? Right? I know you're saying to yourself, Larry, I would like to have some extra money to pay my own bills at home. No, you selfish Pete. Your tax dollars will go to killing people. All right? So get that straight. You don't get to pay your bills when you want to pay your bills like you're somehow special. You're not. We all got to do our part and blow the people up. That's what it means to be American. How that works. So yes. Yacy says the TARDIS, is it bigger on the inside than the outside? Nice Doctor Who reference. Well done. I think it's pronounced Tartus, I think. I'm going to look at it right now so I can find this thing here. It is, I think it's pronounced Tartus. It's Tartus. Yeah. I didn't know the name of it. I just knew they had a base. So the name of it actually was new for me. I didn't know the name of the base. I just knew they had it. So yeah. Is it actually, I'm looking for, I actually can't see it on the map. Yes, it's Tartus Port. So the name of the place is Tartus. The name of the port is Tartus, I guess. It's Tartous. That's the name of the port. Yes, that's the name of the port. So the ports were different, I guess. So whatever that means. But that I know of, it's not Doctor Who. So it'd be cool if it was. So yes. Grace says, I fear for the Syrian Christians. I'm not that concerned in that regard. I'm not. And why? Generally speaking, when the Christian populations are attacked like this, Europe gets involved, and they know it. Generally speaking, that's true. So, I mean, maybe they'll get thrown out. Maybe. Generally speaking, that doesn't happen. So I'm not as concerned. Okay, maybe I'm wrong this time, but I don't see it. I think they're going to be like, why don't you guys just stay over there? And I think they'll be like, okay, we're going to stay over here. You guys do you. We're going to go over here and be Christian over here. And I think they're going to say, good, you go over there and be Christian, and we'll leave you alone. That's what I think is going to happen. So yes. Yes. Anyway. All righty. All right. Let's see here. AC says, I don't know. Dude is saying what Dude is saying. Maybe there'll be peace, but who knows? Was Hilarious saying Hassan say Al-Qaeda bad? Oh, is that right? I didn't even know that. I didn't know that. Yeah, but to your point, I am not saying, to be clear, that they're not radical Muslims. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is they're probably going to decide to not do anything crazy right now because of what happened with ISIS years ago. So they might do something like kind of like the Chinese did with Hong Kong. If you remember, when Hong Kong first turned over to the Chinese, maybe was it 98? I think it was 97, 98, late 90s. When Hong Kong turned over to the Chinese were amazingly good to them. Do you remember that? Oh, it's the one country, two system, whatever. They were nice, hugs and kisses, do what you want. Oh, it's so great. They were wonderful for like 5 years. Then they were like, or whatever it was. Right? It was a couple of years. Then they were like, oh, yeah, no, we're going to make a small change. Don't worry, small change. Another couple of years. Small change. A little bit. 2 more years, couple more years. Small change. Now, you're one of us, shut up. Here come the cops. I think something like that might happen, AC. I don't think it's like tomorrow. I think if it happens, still might happen, it's like 2-3 years later. We said we love you. We were good. Oh, look, we are Muslims, so we're going to do just one little thing. And then the next thing, oh, yeah, and by the way, yeah, you women, you can't go to school anymore. You can still have jobs for now. And then 2 years later, you can't have jobs, whatever. So I see that kind of thing happening. I don't see it right away. Again, the destruction of ISIS is fresh. I still remember it. Most of you still remember it. It's fresh. So yeah, there we go. All righty. Phil says, do you think 10 years ago, the U.S. could have negotiated independent Kurdistan and land given up by Syria and Iraq? Yes. The reason why America did not negotiate a Kurdistan, I think we could have, absolutely, was because the Turks were 100% against it. Carl said it, and he's right. The Turks have been 100% against a Kurdistan in any way, shape, or form. 100% against it. So in theory, could we have? Yes, but we would have to do one or two things. Given up something amazing to the Turks. I don't know what we could have given, but something amazing to the Turks. Like said, we'll help you invade Georgia, or what, I don't know. Abandon Azerbaijan and Armenia or something. I don't know what. I'm making that up. I'm pulling that totally out of my derriere. Something amazing for them to agree to that. I don't know what the thing is. I mean, maybe it wouldn't exist. Or openly threaten them. Like say, we're doing it and we're putting soldiers in, go to war with us. And they're a NATO nation. So, and we want them as a bulwark also against the Russians. We want Turks to be angry against Russians. And we want they're our NATO ally, so we don't want to do that. But could we have? I think yes. I think we could have probably done it earlier than that, maybe 20 years ago. Right? When we were invading Iraq, fighting in once Iraq collapsed. Back then we could have done it if we wanted to. Right? We could have, but America would have really had to have a real caring about the Kurds and the Kurdish nation. We don't. We didn't then, and we don't now. The Turks are now more open to the concept of it, but I think to Carl's point, I don't think they're there yet. They might be, but again, now we still want them in NATO, and we don't want them. We don't want a proxy war in Syria with the Turks. The Turks are a powerful nation. There's 90 million Turks, something like that, and they have a bloodied military that knows how to fight, and they have a large economy. The Turks are no slouches. In a proxy war, they are a serious fight, and they have a military culture and a military I should say martial. Maybe martial is better. They have a martial culture and they have a martial tradition. So it's not going to be easy fighting them. I'm not saying we can't beat Turkey. I'm not saying that. I'm saying we would have to literally declare war on them to beat them. It's a serious battle. We don't want that. I don't know if they want that. But to your point, could we have? Yes. We didn't care then. We could have just said, we're making a Kurdistan. American troops are going to guarantee it. It's going to be X part of, Syria, Y part of Iraq. All Kurds are welcome to return to your homeland. Could have been done. Of course it could have been. But here's the other part. We have decided that those invisible lines in the sand that we made up, about 100 years ago, they're sacrosanct. God made them. right? We just decided that, but we shouldn't. We should have done that. You're correct, and we should have, but we didn't. And I don't think now we can. So yeah, Liberty Death goes on to say Putin getting his win in Ukraine and Zelensky getting asylum in America. He owns a home in Florida. That could be a win for both, right? It could be 100%. It could be a win, right? So the Turks get a win in Syria. The Russians get a win in Ukraine. The Ukrainians get screwed over, right? Because Ukrainians are the Kurds of Eastern Europe. So the Ukrainians get screwed over like the Kurds do here. The Kurds get screwed over here. The Ukrainians get screwed up in Eastern Europe. Putin says he won. See, I took Ukraine, whatever. He gets his win. Turkey gets his win. Look, we did this. Israel got their win. And Trump gets no war. He gets his win. Everybody wins except for the Kurds Ukrainians. Yeah. They don't get to win. Everybody else wins. Everybody else wins. Yeah, I could definitely see that. 100%. That to me seems like an answer that I could see. Joel says, Congressmen like Lindsey Graham want more U.S. involvement in Syria. I wonder how he profits some more. This is my point, Joel. Right? Just because Trump wants it doesn't mean Trump gets it. This will still be challenging either way. It will still be challenging either way. Missy is right. She says, highlight your question or comment to Larry to read live with a super chat. It supports the show. 100%. You guys, if you want a super chat, feel free to do so. Happy to get the super chats. It makes everything easier. I am trying to do more and more of these shows while still working. It is challenging, obviously. I'm traveling on the weekend. Luckily, my daughter came with me, so that was nice. Made it easier. So yes, absolutely, but it can be challenging. As you know, I want more people to have these types of conversations. More people to go back and forth, to know what's going on and to care. More people to know that someone else. Why do I brought this up. Why am I so happy when I go to some event and a bunch of people show up, particularly new people? There's a bunch of people who are sitting in their home in front of the computer thinking, am I crazy that I think what I think? Am I the only one? Am I nuts? What's wrong with me? Then they go to an event and they find 10, 20 more people who are like, no, we agree to. It's broken. Stuff's terrible. Yeah, it's broken. Yeah. And they go, I'm not crazy. I'm not alone. Okay, I get it. I think this does it too. When we chat here and go back and forth, I think we go, I'm not nuts. We recognize that, on any given platform, this show gets a couple hundred views, sometimes a couple thousand, depending on the platform. But overall, over the 8 platforms as it goes on, this gets several thousand views. There's several thousand people who see this. It's not bad. And they're not all going, you're crazy. There's some of them are going, you're right. You're right. Right? Some of them are doing that. I get comments on the other stuff too. I can't get to all of them. I try to get to all of them to the best of my ability. I try to fill all the comments in when I can, but it's challenging. But I'm happy. So yes, please do so if you want to. If you haven't, share this if you can. Share this into a Facebook group. Share this on Twitter. Share this on YouTube. Share it wherever you can share it, right? If you're on something like MeWe or you're on something like Getter or something like that, share it there too. This actually was live on Getter too. Getter actually is one of the most popular places for this show, believe it or not. Getter is very popular. So yes, share it on Getter. Wherever you are, right? Doesn't matter, right? Rumble, share it on Rumble, whatever you're doing. It's not as popular as I want on Rumble, but it's okay on Rumble. It's much more popular on Twitter and Getter are actually the 2 biggest ones. I know it sounds crazy, but those 2 are the biggest ones. So yes, do so, please, if you can. If you have not subscribed, do so. If you thought I already subscribed, do it again because you often get unsubscribed. Click the notification if you can. And if you want to become a member, of course, please click that membership, join. $29 per month gets more of this happening back and forth, easier to move forward. Please do so if you can. So, all right, I keep grabbing some of these. Roy says, I think he means Iranian leadership fears Israel invading. Assad's overthrow tells them their own people may help Israel liberate them. Israel has no interest in the fashion that controls Iran. Like the Abraham Accords, Israel would rather do business with Iran than fight all these proxy wars. I agree with you completely on that, Roy. I think, and I've said it from the beginning, I think what Israel wants is a buffer zone on the borders it does not feel comfortable with. Israel has 2 good borders, safe borders, one with one with Egypt, and one with Jordan. On the other borders, Israel wants a buffer zone. I know people go, that's bad, that's evil. I'm not judging any of that. I'm just saying this is what Israel wants, it's what Netanyahu wants, and he got it. And you might go, Netanyahu's a bad guy. It's what he wanted, and it's what he got. And I don't see it going away. There'll be a buffer zone now in Syria. There'll be a buffer zone now in Lebanon, which is what the Israelis wanted. They now have solid borders on one side, buffers on the other. Their problem now is how they're going to deal with Gaza. I don't know how to deal with Gaza. I don't know what to do with that. But that's their final problem to deal with, whatever that is. So, yes. So, Phil says the Kurds are already semi-autonomous in northern Iraq. Iraq might be happy with oil revenue sharing. Look, this is the earlier point, Phil, you were talking about. If they're able to create a Kurdistan, what a coup, what a win for any American, any president, or any American diplomat, right? If Rubio could do that, I mean, I don't see Rubio doing that. I don't, but I'm fooling myself. If Rubio could do that, I would give Rubio so much credit. He can't do that, but wouldn't want to, couldn't do that. That's not his thing. But that would be something that you could do, right? Imagine if you could do that. That's something that a Jimmy Carter would try to achieve. I'm not sure he's competent enough, but that's something he would try to achieve. That would be a goal that Jimmy Carter would try, right? He would try to create a Kurdistan, right? Something like that. Clinton might. Maybe Clinton would try to make it. I know a Carter would attempt it. Could he do it? I don't know. Maybe. But I know he would attempt it. Clinton might have attempted it. I'm not sure if they were in charge. And I mean Bill Clinton, not Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton would never. Hillary Clinton's a total war hawk. She would never do that. But Clinton might. Bill Clinton might have tried it if he was president at the time, and Carter might have tried it. And is it something that Trump could attempt? Yes. But he'd put someone else in charge of it. He would say, make this happen. I'll be on the front. You do the thing. He would. But the people he's put won't do it. Like Rubio's not going to do it. But it would be a great thing. Imagine if you could negotiate having an autonomous region that's part Iraq and part Syria that is basically Kurdistan. That'd be amazing. What I mean, you'd be an actual nation builder, what America's been talking about for 100 years and hasn't been able to do once. You'd be an actual nation builder. Again, I think Carter would have tried it. Don't know if he could have done it. And I think Bill Clinton might have tried it. Maybe. I'm iffy on that, but maybe. No one else is trying to make that happen. Nobody else is. Yeah. Pick a bell. Oh, let's show know. Lindsey Graham profiting of war. 6 of his top 20 contributors are military-industrial complex. There we go. Yes. There we go. Yes. Carl says, after the meeting in Doha, it seems that Russia and Turkey carved up Syria into small satellite states. That's what I thought, Carl. I'm with you. I think the Russians knew. I agree with you. Look, I don't have data that shows that, but my gut says the Russians knew. I'm with you on this, Carl. I think they actually knew and were like, all right, fine. We're going to fight in Ukraine. Fine. My gut says they made a deal in Georgia. No evidence, but if you know, on the border of Turkey right now, Russia's having problems in Georgia right now. There's fighting back and forth, all kind of problems, right? Turks could be involved in that in some way, shape, or form. The Turks probably said, we're going to look over here. You do you. We're going to look over here. And when we go in Syria, you're going to look over there. And the Russians went, all right, you do Syria, we're going to turn our backs. We're going to mess around Georgia. You turn your back. And you might go, Larry, that sounds horrible. That kind of stuff happens all the time. All the time. Constantly. I could see it happening. I'm with you, Carl. I think you're right. Yes. Gene said, did you make it to the pizza shop in Rochester? I did. Absolutely, Gene, I did. And by the way, he was good. The owner came out and gave me some spaghetti sauce and some Italian spice, which I love. I love when I get gifts like that. I get a lot of little gifts here or there. That was a great one. I'm actually going to make meatballs. Yes, I am. I'm going to make it. I'm considering making a keto meatball hero. What do I mean by that? If you use keto bread, there is keto bread. And with keto bread, you can actually make meatballs and make a meatball hero that's keto. The bread has to have X amount of fiber or made from like almonds, something. There's some way you do it. I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you do it. So yeah, you make it that way, and you can. I may make keto meatball heroes tomorrow night. That's me and my daughter. So yes, from what he gave me. So, all righty. Let's see if I can grab down here if I could. Thomas says Trump will definitely want to keep a base there. He was upset when Biden gave up Bagram in Afghanistan. Not really. I want to always try my best to give credit where credit was due. I am happy that Trump negotiated getting out of Afghanistan. I'm happy that Biden got out of Afghanistan. I am. How he did it was horrible, clearly, but I'm happy he got out. Trump didn't want to give up, did want to give up Bagram, but at the end, he wanted, which actually was the right way of doing it. You give everything up until finally the end, which is Bagram, and then that's the last thing. You slowly pull back the whole way through is what you do. So he didn't want to give it up. He did want to give it up, but at the very end. Now, here's the problem with that, Thomas. Would he have been pushed by his leaders to keep it? I think yes. Sadly for Trump, in his first 4 years, his first term, he was heavily influenced by the military-industrial complex, more than he knew. And he's admitted it. He has admitted as such. He has actually admitted it, that he was. And I think, to your point, Thomas, he probably would have been convinced to keep it. He did not want to keep it. That's not true. He did not want to keep it. He wanted to give it up last. That was his point. But I think he probably would have, if it was still going on, if he had won the election in 2020 and it was the next year and he had actually gotten out the next year, he might have kept it because of the military complex pushing him, because he was definitely done so. So yes. So any case. All right, if I can keep going down here. All righty. Literally says, Larry, FYI, Rumble's having issues and the live stream chat disappeared. At least on my end, I have to head out to them. I have the chat up. It's good. I can see the chat. I still see it. I think we're still good. If you were on Rumble, I can still see your chat. So yes, there we go. I can still see it. There we go. The AC says they are extraditing him to New York. Okay, so they are. Okay, there we go. I did not realize they were doing that. Okay, I knew, but as of restarting, they had not done that. AC goes on to say maybe drill notification. I think that's a real thing. I'm with you. That's a real thing. Yes. Lunar Eclipse says, Larry, with the Assad ousted, created more instability, turmoil, and havoc. He's not a choir, however, as a secularist, he protected ethnic and religious minorities, particularly Lashman and Christians. This is my point earlier. If you go back a couple years back, everybody was like, fine, we'll keep him. He's the devil we know. It's fine. He isn't great, but he'll do. At one point, they said he won't. And I think the issue is, this is my gut. I think two things happened. One, with the attacks in Israel, he was letting too much of the Iranian equipment, cash, and bodies through Syria into Lebanon. And the Israelis got tired of that. They're like, okay, no, you're not doing what we want. No, it's not happening. You're too much. You're stable, but you're still filling up this, right? And then in return for the Israelis attacking, Hezbollah, his shock troops were Russian and Hezbollah. That's what his shock troops were. The Russians have left. Hezbollah got battered. Hezbollah's not finished. The war is not over, right? I want to be clear. The war isn't over yet. Just because Assad's gone, the war isn't over yet. They're still fighting, and Hezbollah still exists. It's just heavily smashed from Lebanon, but it still exists, right? So it's not like over. My gut says, as I showed you, they'll flow into that area I told you where the Russian base is, and they'll hold that to the end. And I think the Russians will support them in that base, that port. I think Russians will support that. And to the earlier point that I think that Carl's talking about, and Phil, I think you and I all agree on, I think that the Russians already agreed to it. Take what you want. We're keeping our base. We're keeping our base. And I think the Turks went, all right, fine, yeah. We're going to do our thing. You keep your base. That's what I think happened. That's my gut. I think you have a valid point here, but, they're going to hope things are going to be better. So, yeah. All right. What was that? Roy says, imagine the hate pool that is UPenn. This guy went to undergrad and grad there a few years ago, yet nobody there said that he might be the guy. Identity politics defines crime by victim, not the perpetrator. This is what we talked about before, Roy. Same thing. Same thing. Rich guy is big. This guy is small. Big guy is wrong. Little guy is right. Does not matter what else is happening. Done and done. You're right. Yet again, this pops up. This keeps popping up. It doesn't matter who did what to whom. History doesn't matter. Big guy is wrong. Little guy is right, period. 100%. Yes. Joel says, yes, GoFundMe is likely to not award donations, so people should just give, send, go. I agree. Yes. Doesn't GoFundMe have a policy of not allowing people to fundraise for criminal suspects? I don't know, but I get probably, which is terrible and unconstitutional and wrong. I mean, they can, but it's terrible, right? So that kind of discrimination is okay? That's okay? Why? Yes. 100%. Yes. It's terrible. Gray says, too many people sadly sympathize with the shooter. You're right, Larry. Find one person whose kid was in eye coverage. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Cheyenne says, I doubt people will nullify murder charges. If this was several years back, Cheyenne, I would say you're right. I disagree now. Did you see how many people, when they were terrible towards the guy who was killed, that just doubled and tripled down, right? How dare you? He has children. There are popular YouTubers who said, F his family. I'm not making that up. That happened. That's what I said. F his family. Man, okay, I get you mad at him. His family too. Yes. Yes. They didn't care. Double down, triple down. I don't know. I'm not with you, Mr. John. I think there are people who would happily go there and not care and be like, yes, 100%. But then they would. So 100%. Dave says, LA Times, GoFundMe for Luigi's legal defense emerged with the police IDM as suspect. There we go. Yes, already. I hope he can be comfortable. Cheyenne, they're saying, I hope he can be comfortable. I think you're wrong on this, Cheyenne. I think you are. I think you're wrong on this one. I think people would absolutely do it. I think they would. Yes. Alexa says, was Leighton coming in? Did you mention how they're making sure everyone knows he was an RFK and Joe Rogan follower? Well, because that's the reason why I did it, of course. That's the reason. Because Joe Rogan told him to, I guess. I'm kidding. YouTube, don't cancel me. I'm teasing. Joking. Did not say that. Joking only. Alexa, you're going to get me canceled. I'm blaming you, Alexa. You can get me canceled. But yes, no, I'm just kidding. Just teasing. Yes. So Phil says, Kurd cities need a new kind of castle. How? A new kind of castle. All right, here's what I think a new kind of castle looks like. Seeing how the Ukraine war has been fought, what you need is just a series of reinforced buildings in every town. The hardest towns to capture have always been, this is since a long time, but heavily now in the last couple of wars, last war here has been factories. Factories is often, but heavily things like factories, big, tall factories. Why big, tall factories? Because big factories are meant to withstand shaking, heavy equipment, things like that. They're built for that. These are the perfect places to repair vehicles, the perfect places to bring broken vehicles in, the perfect places to use for bases for drone strikes. So you want to have that. You want to make sure you have a series of them in every new city you build. So 3 regular, fortified, multiple story factory type building. 3 or 4, same thing. That becomes so hard to capture. This becomes Bakhmut. Bakhmut was the city in Ukraine that took the Russians so long, over a year, to capture, right? Because they had to push through every one of those. Each one of those was a battle. This goes back to Stalingrad, 1942, the factory battles, right? Same thing. So you want to have a castle? It's a fortress of factory buildings, several of them going through different areas. Because the problem is once they're urbanized in that area, the drones don't work as well. Tanks don't work as well. You need troops to go in. If you have enough of those, if they're high enough, you can then use your drone strikes and other strikes that you can use against the oncoming troops, against the oncoming armored vehicles. So I would say that is what a new castle would look like in today's world. Don't know if that helps. But I think that will be in Newcastle. If I had to guess, if I had to build one, that's how I would make it fail. So yes. All righty. GoFundMe's terms of service prohibit raising money for the legal defense of an alleged violent crime. That is so insanely wrong and bad. I want to bomb it. They're literally saying you're assumed guilty. Assumed guilty. Yes, absolutely. 100%. All right. Grace goes on to say, Assad was the devil, Israel knew. Yes. Syria will be like Iraq before you know it, lack of infrastructure included. Grace, you may be right. I hope you're wrong. I hope they learn a lesson. I really do. Carl says, Trump is still talking about Canada becoming a state. What is the likelihood of that happening? Zero. America is not annexing Canada. It's not going to happen. The odds are zero. There is no chance of that happening. Would it be possible that perhaps some land like Quebec might want to take away? Maybe that is like a bazillion to one. Maybe that's 1,000,000 to 1 odds. Canada becoming a state is zero. Not going to happen. There are 15, 14 provinces in Canada? Hold on. Yukon, Nunavut, Northwest Territories, Alberta, British Columbia, Manitoba, Ontario, Newfoundland, Quebec. That island they have. Labrador? One more. Like 12. I missed one in the middle there somewhere. It's like 13. It's like 13, something like that. It's like 13 provinces, maybe in that area. I'm off by one. It's like 13 provinces in Canada, and there's about 30 million Canadians. I mean, you could it could be one state in theory because it's only 30 million, and California has 40 million, so we could. But any case, no, it's not gonna. Is it possible something like Quebec wants to secede and then wants to become part of America? I guess in theory, but that's still 1,000,000 to 1. But no, not going to happen at all. And not in Mexico. There's over 120 million Mexicans? Something like that. Over 100 million Mexicans. And they have like, Mexico has like 30 states. Am I right? 30, 31? Whatever. I think 31 states, if I'm not mistaken. You know, now you guys, I got to think now. Hold on. Now I'm not sure. Hold on. How many states in Mexico? I'm right. 31 states in Mexico. How many provinces? They're provinces in Canada. Oh, it says 10. I said 13. Hold on. Can't be. Really? That can't be right. Alberta, British Columbia, Manitoba, Newfoundland, Labrador, was the islands I was talking about. Nova Scotia, Ontario, Prince Edward Island, Quebec, Saskatchewan. No, that's not true. Oh, because they're called territories. I'm sorry. It's okay. Yukon, Northwest Territories, and Nunavut, those are considered territories and not provinces. So I counted those as provinces, so I was still correct. I said 13. It's 13 if you include territories. So I get points for Mexico and I get points for Canada. See? 13 Canada, 31 Mexico. I get points for both. So yeah, we're not going to. What's the population of Mexico? I said 120 million? I think it's about 120 million. Population of Mexico. 128 million. See that? You guys can't mess with me. Come on now. You don't know my stuff. I like looting. I like everything. Anyway, so yes, I hope you guys enjoyed my way of knowing stuff that no one should even care about. P says, thank you for the $5. I appreciate it. On United Healthcare, are the people so separated from reality? They don't know what they're doing, including the CEO. To be forward, I want to be very clear on this. I am not saying anyone deserved any violence. I want to say it again. I am not saying that at all. Not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is that CEO knew exactly what his company was doing. He was part of it. He knew exactly what his company was doing. That's all I'm saying. He knew exactly what it is. That's all. Okay, that's it. All right. Dave said I posted it on Twitter. Thank you, my friend. Yes. Grace says, my husband has mad respect for the Kurds. He met a lot of Kurds when he deployed. Incredibly strong people. I have heard that from so many people. So many people. Yes. Absolutely. I heard from so many people. You are absolutely correct. Yep. All righty. Let's see here. Andrew says we had 1812 to 1816 to miss it. Oh, yes, to get Canada. Accurate statement. And we do. There was a chance, but now that chance is now gone. That chance is now gone. Yeah, now gone. And why would you do it? Right? Imagine if you were to say, all right, I'm going to go down a crazy world. The Canadian government falls and they want to become American. I don't know why they would, but whatever. I'm really pulling this out of my area here, but whatever. They want to become Americans or whatever. Are we going to make all their things like the top territories become one state and then the rest all become states? So we get like 11 new states or whatever we do. So now we have 11 new states. Okay. Are those states going to become Democrat or Republican states? Remember, 2 senators from each now. Some party getting more senators than the other. That's a fight. This is back to slave states versus non-slave states in the 1800s. How you gonna do that, right? So yeah, it's crazy, but no, yes, but no. So anyway, all righty. Joel says Canada's full of far leftists, which means you're gonna have more Democrats than Republicans then. But is Canada really full of leftists? Not by province, right? It's very similar. Canada is similar in that regard to America. Manitoba, Alberta, they're going to be righties. These are like cowboys. These guys are like North Dakota. Like they're like from North Dakota, right? It's you gain like 3 North Dakotas. I'm not even joking with that. You get like 4 North Dakotas. That's not going to be left. Those guys are going to be right leaning. So yeah, I think you'll be both. Thomas says it's pronounced Tartus. Oh, thank you. I did not know how it was pronounced. Tartus. There we go. That's how you pronounce that port. Tartus. There we go. Perfect. All right. Let's see if I can go down here. There's so many guys. I appreciate these. So yes. All right. Gene says all freedoms are given up in small increments. That's how I think. Thank you, Gene. That is how I think they work the new Syria. It's not we walk in and trash the joint. Nope. I think it's walk in and they just chill. And then a little bit. And then a little bit. And a little bit. I think that's what it is. Kim says, don't mess with the Turks. They can be wicked. Well, they also have a large army. AC says the Turks are the world's 4th. Is that right? The world's 4th largest thing. Is that true? Wow. I didn't expect that much. I knew they were serious. Wow. They have a martial tradition. They do. The tradition is martial. So yes, 100%. Dave says Trump supporters want Zelensky rotting in the Siberian prison. Yes, but this is gonna be how he gets his own win. I don't see him going away. Yes. Right? I don't see him going away. John says, those are my thoughts exactly. I don't feel crazy or alone. Want to watch a show. And the people in the chat sound more reasonable to me than what I say on YouTube at any given day. John, that is so good. Thank you for saying that. I feel the same way. I feel the same way. Right? Because even when we disagree with reason behind it. You guys don't just go, Larry, you're stupid. I mean, some of you do. But most of you don't do that. Most of you go, Larry, you're wrong. Here's why. Larry, I think this. Larry, I think that. And I tell you what I think. I think, yes, we go back and forth all the time. Pete asks, when are you coming to Syracuse / Onondaga County? I will be coming up there probably starting again in February. I don't think I'll be doing much at all the rest of this year or January. I'll begin again in February. And then maybe March, April, I'll get hotter. I'll probably start doing a trip every 2 weeks. Generally speaking, about 6 to 8 stops every time I go, because I've got to get a bunch in for this next year. So yeah, absolutely. All righty. Go down here if I can. The AC says, since you're always right, does that mean you're always crazy then? Yes. Correct. Yes. Crazy means correct. Yes. Mike says, Iraq, like Syria, will never go up to land, least of all the Christian Kurds. The issue I think with that is, again, how to negotiate with and who. I'm not saying he can do it. That's my point. I'm saying if anybody could it be Trump, if someone can right now, right? Carter would have tried. because that's who Carter was. I'm not saying Carter would have done it, but he definitely would have tried if he could have. He would have made an attempt. Clinton might have, but it would be great if Trump could do it, if anyone could. Again, Iraq is a failed state right now. There is a way, Mike, that America could do it. There's a way. I think America won't do it. And the way is to say, this is now Kurdistan. American troops are now guarding it. If you attack us, you are now attacking America. The Kurds would get behind us in 5 seconds. We would have Kurdish people with us. This wouldn't be an insurgency, if that makes any sense, right? You would have people who wanted it. It would not be an insurgency. It could be done, but it's not going to be done for many reasons. One of them is we worship these stupid lines we drew 100 years ago. We worship them. That's number one. Number two, we're begging the Turks to be fighting us. And now we're opening up the door. We're on the border now of Iran. They can do everything they can to destabilize. So it's not going to happen. But could it happen? Yes. You're right. They're not going to give up the land. We'd have to just say it's ours now. I'm not saying we should. That's not true. I am saying we should, in theory, right? If you care, but I don't want America involved. So walk away. That's my answer. Walk away. So yes. AC says Carter could have tried, but Reagan would have just sent Dulles to undermine. Valid point. You're right, AC. Valid point. Yes. So yeah. Mike goes on, Turks are more likely to be involved in Azerbaijan, not Georgia. Yeah, I'm with you on that one, right? And that's where I think literally he walked away. I think the Turks went, yeah, you take Georgia, we'll look away, but we're going to go to Syria. Can you please look away? I think that's what happened, Mike. I'm with you on that. I think you're right. Yes. Roy says, God's solution is simple. Surrender and free the hostages, war ends, but hard because the Muslims stay in power like Syrian rebels, but they have been fast leadership like Assad, subjecting their own people to senseless war. What I would say is maybe simple, but your point, not easy, right? Particularly with what's happened now. That's the other issue. Yes. Mike says Trump was upset leaving Bagram intact with firearms and ammo. Yeah, I'm with you. I don't think he wanted to. I think Trump was fine with getting rid of Bagram, right? But if I remember what his plan was, and maybe I'm wrong here, but the plan I remember was he just wanted it to be the last thing you leave, right? You get rid of everything else. Bagram is the last place you leave, and you take everything out. He didn't mind leaving Bagram intact because it can be used as an airport. It can be used as a facility. He didn't mind them having the facility. That he was okay with. He wasn't happy with the firearms and the ammo and the weapons. That was Trump's problem. He didn't want that to be there, but he was okay giving them the facility. If I remember, I think that was the plan. If I remember it right, that was the plan. Take the facility. We're fine with that, but not all the goodies, right? He was going to get rid of them. And if I remember right, didn't the generals tell, or what the story was, the generals told either Trump and or Biden that it was cheaper to leave it there than to get it out. And if I remember the story right, Trump said, I don't care, get it out. If anyone remembers that story, please correct me. But I'm pretty sure that's what happened. I think the generals told Trump, no, cheaper, leave it there. And Trump said, I don't care if it's cheaper. Get it out. I don't want the ammo there. I don't want the weapons there. And when Biden came in, they told Biden the same thing. No, cheaper, leave it there. And Biden went, okay, leave it there. It was the generals who told Trump and who told Biden it's cheaper to leave it there. Trump said, no, get it out, but keep the base. They can keep the facility. And then Biden said, no, just leave it. It's fine, whatever. And that's the problem. Mike, if you remember something different, tell me. I'm happy to hear if you think I got that wrong, but I think that's right. So Shan says, you're the first channel I've been unsubbed from. That's what's called shadow banning. They assume everyone who follows me is somehow a bot. They attack me and unsub people constantly. Constantly. Yes, that's why you see me always hooping and hollering about you subbing, resubbing. I'm bugging you all the time because I do it constantly. I wish I was making it up. But yes. Okay. Oh, you guys are remembering it in Newfoundland. Okay, you already do. I'm sorry. I should have been watching. Yes. Joel says territories aren't provinces. You're right, but I'm going to count them because I didn't know any better. I'm an American. So I'm going to count them so I can take credit and say I was right, Joel. So I'm just going to count them anyway. Yeah, anyway. Yeah. AC says Canada actually has more land, the United States, and less population. But the same population, about 40 million. Yeah. I thought it was about 30. Is it 40? I thought it was about 30. Hold on. I'm going to check this one too now. Population of Canada. I thought it was about 30 some odd million. Population of Canada. You are right, 40 million. I was wrong on that one, AC. Well done. You're right, 40 million. You are correct. Yes. All righty. Sheriff says, I'm going to have to come back on this later. Sounds like Larry's cheating again, counting territories. I'm counting what I want to be right. That's all. I'm just saying. Look, I'm supposed to know the difference between a territory and a province in Canada. Come on now. I can't remember all these things. I can't remember everything. Just saying. Still pretty good. Yeah. So yeah, he mentions as California. Well done. You are right, AC. You are correct. 100%. You are correct. All righty. Let me walk down here a couple more here. Joel says Biden left Americans there. Also true. Yes. Again, I want to be clear. I'm very happy that Biden got out of Afghanistan. I am. The way he got out was absolutely horrible. It was an embarrassment. It was terrible. But I am happy he got out. Terribly done, though. I'd rather us not be there. And I actually don't care if he left them Bagram. I think it's great. Leave them the facility. I don't mind. They'll use it as an airport, or maybe they'll use it as a mall, or they'll use it as whatever, their own military base for whatever. It's fine. Let them use it if they want to. I don't mind at all. But we shouldn't have given them all our weapons and our ammo. That was insane. Give them the base, though. Whatever. It's fine. We built it. They can have it. What are you going to do? Maybe they have a better airport in Afghanistan or something. I'll help them do something. Oh, it's fine. Whatever. So, all righty. The AC says, and even though I have always notified, click on every time I come and see that you're coming on, I have to click. Yes, I want to be notified. Check my head, although you do show up on my subscriptions. So there's that. There we go. I like something. I do like that. We have something. I think that's awesome. There we go. All good. So Kim says, a little bit at a time is what they've been doing to us for decades. Yes. That's the way they do it, Kim. Slowly but surely, and always because of fear. The worst thing ever is afraid Americans. That is the worst thing ever. Afraid Americans make everything bad. So let me, if I could, ask you one more time. If you haven't liked this show, please like it. If you like it, you're watching and it matters to you, click that button. Every little bit counts. Share it whenever you can. And after the show is over, please make sure that you leave a comment afterwards. I've just done. You know who loves that? You know who does love that? Algorithm. Absolutely. Yes, please do that if you can. Thomas says, calling Canadian territories provinces the same as calling Puerto Rico or Guam a state. Okay, but if I was Canadian and I thought that Puerto Rico was a state or Guam was a state, that wouldn't be a bad thing. You wouldn't be like, oh, you stupid Canadian. I hope you wouldn't say that. You'd be like, no. Those are provinces, those are territories and not states. And yeah, what if someone thought DC was a state? You wouldn't go, stupid Canadian. Hope you wouldn't. You're like, oh, no. That's also another dumb thing we have in territories and such that America has. You wouldn't say that. You would say, oh, no, that's not how it works. So all I'm saying is, I'm an American. I can get them confused. I just want my points to being right, guys. All right, fine. I was wrong. I said 13. It was 10. I got them confused. That's all I'm saying. Just saying that. Oh, Joel's on my side. See? He says it's akin to parishes in Louisiana. I happen to know that in Louisiana, they're not called counties. They're called parishes. That's true. They act as counties, but they are not counties. They are parishes in Louisiana, where in New York, they are counties. See that? If I called it a county, the people of Louisiana wouldn't go, you're stupid. Well, they might because they don't like New Yorkers. If I wasn't from Louisiana, if I was, I don't know, from like South Dakota, they probably wouldn't hate me. They're like, oh, okay. No. We don't call it counties. We call it parishes. Me as a New Yorker, they would call me stupid because I'm a New Yorker. So they would hate me either way. But I'm just saying that'd be the reason for them. Peace, thank you for the $10, my friend. I don't think they unsubscribe if you're a paying member. Subscribe. I like that. All good. Whatever you can do, I appreciate it. Every little bit counts, right? It does matter. Every little bit counts. It is important. So I do appreciate that for you guys who are doing that. Peace, thank you for the super chat again, as always. Guys, this thing in Syria is important. I think the war is not over. Don't think that it is. This will be part of, without question, this will be part of the negotiations. Syria will be part of negotiations in the end of the Ukraine war. This is another piece I've been talking about for the last month. Everybody fighting hard to gain some kind of advantage for the coming peace next year. That is a good thing. There is going to be some type of peace or attempt at it. Trump could fail, but Trump is going to try to make a peaceful 2025. If he is successful at that, there'll be negotiations. There always are. Those negotiations will probably go months. I was teasing Mike about this. Mike Voss said, oh, there'll be a peace treaty by, January 20th. I said, no way a peace treaty. Not going to happen. No way. And I still stand by that. Could there be a ceasefire? Yes, not against that. That could happen. But peace treaties, peace talks will take months. Each one trying to get their win off of this and talk this and do that. They will do something like that. I get it, 100%. People are trying to get an advantage to the best of their ability. And a lot of people are going to die. And to Pete's point, we're going to spend a whole lot of money while that happens. We really should be changing how that works. But we're not. We're going to spend a bunch of money. At least my hope is if we get something out of this, we actually get a peaceful, relatively peaceful 2025. That would be great. I hope Trump can do it. If there was a way to get a Kurdistan, that'd be amazing. I don't see it happening, but I hope it will. That would be awesome too. The people who've won this so far right now, Israel has won. Turkey has won. Who has lost? Russia has lost. America has lost. Iran was already lost. They already got their butt kicked. They're already in trouble. Iran's already in trouble. But Iran doesn't require a win. I'm going to give you this, guys. Iran does not require a win. It will always blame the big boys as hurting them. Iran can take a loss and their government's still fine. They blame the rest of the world. Iran doesn't require a win. Russia requires a win. America requires a win. Next year, both of them will find a way. And my worry is the people who will pay for our win will be the Kurds and the Ukrainians, because those are the people that people don't like the most. That's the issue. And if we have to pick one or the other, I don't know which one we'll pick. I don't know. Or neither. Who knows? Anyway, I've been talking about this for a while. I think it makes a lot of sense. I appreciate all your support. I'll be back on tomorrow at 1 p.m., my radio show. I'll be back on tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern. If you want to call in, I'll be talking about Daniel Penny and those goodies. And I'll also be back on again Wednesday night at 7 p.m. I will not be on tomorrow night. I'll be at an event, but I'll be on Wednesday night. I will see you all